Hi you guys, welcome. It's been a while since I've done full-on horoscope videos. I love to do it. They're so time consuming. I've been very busy, and I still am going to be busy for a while, and so I decided to do readings that are good for 3 months. So like for a 3-month time period. I hope that's not like, I don't know, in one ear and out the other in sort of the span of 3 months. That's kind of a while, but hopefully it'll be kind of a generalization for that time, and then I'll be able to do some smaller readings too in the sort of in-between time. Go back and reference these videos, of course. Yeah, just to give you guys a little bit of sort of something. So they're for June, July, and August, and they can be for any sign in any planet, whatever resonates. I also want to say, because I am doing or the structure of these is sort of longer because they are 3 months long, and I wanted to kind of like do some extra, so they're longer. And I do have a basically they're like 4 parts. I'm giving you a general information, and then a sort of a timeline, which is just sort of a, I don't know, supplementation to the general information, and then advice and outcome for that, and then also doing an overview of your love, career, finances and stuff, and also health. And so that's what I wanted to say, was because I am sort of integrating like a health thing, just to talk about that for a minute. And this goes for everything, right? I don't really worry too much about doing readings and giving people advice, because I feel like in the end people kind of, I don't know, they end up doing what they're going to do and what they feel is right, sort of. It's just like kind of like a guidepost a little bit. So you're really looking for that familiarity. If it's not familiar, don't follow it as advice, right? And be conscious of yourself using any kind of advice, but especially things like this, as sort of like an excuse for anything. You know, and especially when it comes to your health and stuff like that, obviously, like health professionals, all that kind of stuff. But it's just kind of like a guideline. If it seems familiar, you know what I mean, you might want to go back to it and look at kind of what other information is surrounding that, right? Sort of thing. So hopefully that all makes sense. I filmed these videos. I've been traveling, so I've been filming these videos sort of camping. That's why it's taking me so hecking long, and I'm like way behind schedule because I'm just, you know, weather and stuff like that, wind and all that. So they're kind of filmed in various locations, environments, quality. Hopefully it's not too much of a problem, the audio and stuff like that. As usual, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think, if these were helpful, if you enjoyed them. Give me a thumbs up if you can, if you'd like to, and subscribe and all that. And yes, I hope that you enjoy. All right, welcome Sagittarius. Let's get right into your general energy. Very Sagittarian. I'm seeing coming towards you, first of all, the Success card and the 8 card. So pretty good, pretty nice. Maybe the culmination of something, the presentation of something that's you've been kind of working up to, actually coming to fruition a little bit now. Could definitely have to do with travel. Could have to do with finances and money in a positive way, both. The energy itself is, it's very you. It's very like active, moving, but it's like relaxed, but it's initiating, right? A little bit clumsy, a little bit childish. But yeah, very much you. And you look very comfortable in this situation too. Knowledgeable. I'm seeing sort of a specificity and a dedication to like a certain group, either a social group or maybe an idea or some kind of sense of aesthetics, maybe, if that makes sense. Like there's something that you're kind of like really dedicated and focused on, and not really moving out of that sphere, and it's something that you're comfortable with, right? that you have some knowledge about. And I'm seeing specifically the sort of what's phasing in and out of your life right now is coming from a very introverted place into a very extroverted place. Yeah, very, very much more kind of self, or not self, but like internalized mode, I guess, to life maybe, and into very much more externalized. Social, having to do with other people, can be sort of clumsy, like I said, a little bit kind of rash, rushed, maybe not the most like planned sort of graceful thing, but it's positive. It's not in the negative sense. It's just very kind of you, like I said. Yeah, pretty fiery energy, but in like a fresh kind of clean way. So that's cool. Whatever's coming in seems good, seems lively, seems not like strenuous, even though that it's got, you know, some dynamics to it. So I'm gonna pick this up and I'll put down like a timeline, not month by month, but like more just gradual, so that you can kind of see a little bit more about how this is going to work out. Also, it kind of looks like the thing that's sort of coming towards you, right? This sort of like mode in your life could have to do, in addition to having to do with like travel or finances or something, it can have to do with like recognition for something too, right? But finally having something seen, maybe something you've been working on, an idea, a project, something that you've done, something like that is becoming recognized, apparent, shareable. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of dedication here in the beginning. Really some very extreme kind of, I don't want to say up and downs throughout this. It's mostly like ups, which sounds weird. Just ups of like different types and like an extreme kind of like going for it on your part. Maybe some like, how do I say, like some, if you can get like assistance from somewhere, you'll be looking for it, resources and things like that. Even some kind of like, doing some kind of like medication, or enhancement things of some kind. Either that or like trying to sort of like almost like knock yourself out while you like you know, like shut your eyes while you get things done, sort of thing. Like you're so determined that like you'll sort of like do whatever it takes, and that's sort of for the first half of this. And then starting in the second half, we're seeing some success, right? Some accomplishment of that. It might be a little bit anticlimactic, maybe because of the intensity that it's kind of like taking to get there, right? And also even maybe just because it is so intense getting there that once you finally get there, it's like, okay, you can breathe and then you relax, and it's kind of like all that like motion and movement for just like, you know, not something super exciting once you finally get there, or you don't have the energy or something like that, possibly. And you maybe you've exhausted a lot of your resources or something like that just in the beginning, right? But you're definitely keeping up a sense of pride in yourself and of accomplishment, right? And people they can see it for sure. It's obvious, the sort of effort that you've put in, but it's maybe a little bit less of a warm kind of welcome than you were hoping for. But it's stable too, you know. There's a sense of accomplishment for sure in the sort of middle, and then all the way through till the end. It's just a little bit less intensive than in the beginning, which was a lot more intense emotions, a lot of back and forth between things, between people, between ideas and thoughts and things like that. Yeah, so I'm gonna put down some cards for some advice and an outcome, and then we'll get into love, career, and health. Okay, advice-wise, they don't want you to become like like Pygmalion to this project or this goal, right? Like try to avoid that tunnel focus, or that tunnel vision, I guess, that I was talking about before, with like being so, you know, hyper dedicated. They want you to diversify a little bit, and that you should have enough, you know, stay active, and that's fine. You should have enough kind of to go around. Yeah, they don't want you to get so stuck in your sort of in this one thing, and having a sense of kind of pride to do it better than anybody can be your downfall, right? You have working on your side the ability to be that active and to balance that many things, I guess, however many things that is, more than one thing basically, and still succeed. And if you do that, you can succeed in even more than you planned on, if that makes sense. Like if you just feel like you're doing the best you can by putting everything into one thing, and you use that energy and split it up into more than one thing, then you can really succeed in all that stuff, I guess, is what this is telling me. And just, you know, because, and especially because, like, you are seeing, I was seeing a sort of like a sort of a disappointment. It's just more, I think, that if you just focus on that one thing, it will be kind of a disappointment because you could have done more with this time, sort of thing. And that if you do, you can come out of the other end even kind of more strong and more powerful, and with more resources and more kind of just more going on. I'm seeing that you definitely have the ability to do that. You just have to really remain active. Don't get too focused, kind of thing, on one thing, I should say. Focus, definitely focus, but just not on one thing. Move around a little bit. You can, according to this. So, yeah, that's your advice. Diversify a little bit. Yeah, and you can have really intense. Your outcome card was Scorpio in reverse, which to me just says like a really intensity, like a really strong intensity and a strong power and a lot of just a lot, if that makes sense, like an extreme, like what's the word, accumulation and that kind of thing. And also that sort of maybe dedication that you're looking for when you put, you know, when your instinct is telling you to put everything into that one thing, you can get the dedication returns on that better if you put that much energy into more than one thing. Just multiply it, I guess. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to lay some more cards down for love, career, and health for these 3 months. Okay, the sun basically went down while I was reshuffling and relaying these cards, so I guess it doesn't matter. Anyways, love-wise, it looks like you have a lot of insight right now about your relationships and your relationships, your dynamics with other people and stuff like that. They want you to be a little bit less kind of heady with it and a little more emotional, a little bit more nurturing. It's not like a manic emotional, it's a very nurturing emotional. It's very much less like balancing everything out and making sure that everything is even, and a lot more of like seeing like who needs care and when, even if it's kind of one-sided, you know. And you can come then into a place that's more just more expressive, a little bit less like underhanded, less like passive aggressive, that kind of thing, and that's just more communicative, a little bit more real, even if it's sometimes kind of like uncomfortable or extreme or something like that. It's just can be more real, I guess, if that makes sense. Be a little bit more in reality, which I think makes sense because, I don't know, relationships, they're just not always like balanced too, right? And they also want you to focus on your relationships that are less superficial, you know. Focus on your your deep relationships, not on the ones that are kind of a little more flippant and random, right? Focus on your kind of familial relationships, people who are there for you, have been there for you in the past, that kind of thing. Yeah, and just realize that things may not always be fair. You might have to give to somebody more than they are giving to you, or vice versa, right? At certain times, it's just the way things work. So, career, money-wise, it looks pretty good. Stable. It looks comfortable and stable. It doesn't look extravagant. If you have been living kind of a little bit, again, flippantly and kind of extravagantly, and kind of a little bit more just for like entertainment and pleasure and stuff like that, it's still comfortable, but it's going into a more stable place. Whether that's where you're directing your kind of career energies, or the amount of money you're making, or where you're choosing to put your money, or something like that. Something is getting very much more stable in a positive way, and moving more towards like your goals and things like that. Your what you actually want for the future, and less like about sort of entertaining yourself now, if that makes sense. Health-wise, they want you to pay attention for sure. It looks like at this time you could kind of have this feeling of like kind of not very directional, right? A little bit wishy-washy here and there. Wow, it's like we're really getting dark. Anyways, yeah, just kind of like, oh, I could do this, oh, I could do that, and kind of like feeling like you could do whatever. It's a weird noise. Yeah, they don't want you to just kind of like become like go with the flow kind of thing, right? They want you to really do the opposite of that, actually, and run kind of a tight ship with your health. Mental health, physical health, emotional health, that kind of thing. Keep an eye on it. Make good decisions, moment to moment, you know, and it'll be more lasting. Otherwise, you could end up kind of maybe going off the deep end a little bit with sort of like stimulants and that kind of thing, or depressants and that kind of thing. You'll be able to feel a lot better if you kind of run a tight ship that way for this time. In the long run, and have more physical energy to do all those things that you kind of need to and can do right now. Otherwise, you kind of risk sort of floating off just into the ether, right? Using all this energy on just kind of like enjoying yourself. But it doesn't look like, you know, if you sort of all these three things are kind of saying the same thing, which is like, don't go off on into this like sort of, I just keep wanting to say flippant, but this like just fun time, wishy-washy sort of energy, right? For all of these, like they want you to go for the deep stuff, like really make good, strong, stable decisions for yourself and for your future. And the future cards look really positive if you can do that. If you can put your money into things that are long-lasting and make good decisions for your health, and be really nurturing to the relationships that actually matter and that, you know, you value, and that kind of thing. It's a good time, I think, I guess, because you have so much just extra energy to do all these other things. You can accomplish a lot, or you can, you know, do the opposite and kind of destroy a lot, maybe, is what it's sort of looking like. Yeah, that whatever you do is just going to have a really strong kind of impact, which can be positive or negative. So it's completely dark now. You totally can't see me. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.